Hello everyone, my name is Chase Chappell and welcome to Module 3. We're going to be covering today the campaign audience level, the testing budget, our open audience strategy, the interest data testing strategy, audience targeting settings, and all around just best practices for your Facebook ads. So let's get into this. First things first, we're going to go to the Ads Manager. You're going to make sure you're in your ad account. Yours might look something like this if you have no campaigns. But if you already have some campaigns, you might see them in here, but we're going to go ahead and start fresh and create some new ones. So what you're going to do is hit Create. And we're going to be optimizing for purchase conversions. If we're selling a product, that's what we want to optimize for. It doesn't really make any other sense other than to optimize for the main thing. You see, lots of people think they need to optimize for add to carts, initiate checkouts. Well, that doesn't really make any sense because if you want purchases, you should optimize for purchases. And the reason is because Facebook's algorithm knows exactly what behaviors people take. And there's a bunch of wishers and dreamers out there that love to add to cart and build that big wish list, but at the end of the day, they do not convert because they never like to convert because they're wishers and dreamers. We want the people who like to take action, like to spend their money, and buy things right away because those are the types of people who are going to ensure that our campaigns are scaling profitably, and those are the happiest customers because they make quick decisions and are always happy with pulling the trigger right away. So what we'll end up doing is clicking on conversions, and we'll go ahead and hit continue. This is just going to set up our campaign audience, and it's going to put out an ad. Right now I'm just going to delete this ad because we're going to come back to that later. And so that way we can focus on our campaign level. If you'd watched in the previous videos, we had covered the naming templates, which make all of this really easy for us. So we're just going to go ahead and activate that. It's automatically going to tell us that our CBO is off, which is our campaign budget optimization. We know it's off because it automatically named it for us. And you should have an open text field here because in that video we had added this. And we're going to name this our open audience. Or we can just name it open. And open is going to be our control audience. This is a strategy that allows you to test and see how the open audience compares to your other audience targeting. We're going to leave everything completely open. And the great thing about an open audience is it's going to perform over the long run. And we're looking to build a long-term business here and ensure that we're scaling over the long term, we're getting results over the long term. We're not really looking for a quick cheat code here or any quick hacks because they're really not out there, and if there are any, they don't last very long. So we want to focus on the actual strategies that are going to allow us to build a solid foundation for the long run. So keep in mind, this open audience is very likely not to perform in the early days. It probably won't perform the first week or the second week. But what you'll start to notice is over time, as your algorithm learns and starts to understand who your audience is, this is going to become one of your most powerful and best audiences in the long run. There's so many ad accounts that we looked at over the years, and the open audience seems to outperform almost all audiences if it's left on for a long amount of time. And that's because the algorithm eventually starts to learn so efficiently and effectively that it can automatically find the right buyers for your business. So that's where we're going to start today. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as open. We're going to have the campaign budget optimization. This can be on or off because this is actually going to be the only audience in here. So, we can go ahead and just flip this on, CBO on. And the first thing we want to look at for our open audience is what budget do we want to set it at. So if we go ahead and check this out, we have a graph here, a table. And in this table, I've gone ahead and broken down some recommendations for your testing budget. So if your monthly budget is under $1,000, I recommend each ad set audience is at $5 daily for testing. This is only during the testing phase, and the max number of ad sets if you have under $1,000 budget for the month is going to be 6 ad sets. So that's $5 per ad set. And that's essentially $30 per day. If you do the math on that across 30 or 31 days in the month, you're pretty much at $1,000 monthly. So that's the max number of ad sets you can have. And then if we look at 1,000 to 5,000 monthly budget, if you're in that range, then your testing budget would be $10 daily per ad set. And so the max number of ad sets you would have for testing is essentially 16 different ad sets or 16 audiences. Next, if you're in the 5,000 to 15,000 monthly budget range, then you can set your daily budget for testing for $15, which also gives you about 33 ad sets for testing, which is a great amount for you to be able to identify, a number of audiences that could be working and also identify the ones that don't. If you're above a 15,000 monthly budget, you likely already have an understanding of, what some of your audiences are converting. So this is going to essentially allow you to, set an ad set testing budget at $25. And if you have a client in this range, it's going to be easier for you to get through the testing phase just by go ahead and, setting a budget at $25 daily per ad set. And there is a max number of ad sets at this stage once you pass 15,000 monthly budget, but you're going to have to refer to the Facebook limit because it gives you insights on how many ad sets you can have as a max. So now that you know your budget, we're going to go ahead and type in that amount. So ours is going to be $10 for this specific account, and your campaign strategy here can be highest value or lowest cost. That essentially means that we're looking to get the most volume of results. In this case, for us, it's going to be purchases. Highest value essentially means that Facebook might optimize to get you, somebody who spends the most amount of money with you. And then lowest cost is Facebook's optimizing to get the highest number of, purchases at the lowest cost per result as possible. And so we'll stick with this strategy for now. And essentially, no other options we want to change here. And we're going to go ahead and hit next. Once again, we've already had our template set up in the previous video, so we'll activate that. And since our audience is going to be open, we'll just go ahead and name it now. And if we scroll down, we want to go ahead and choose our pixel and the event we're optimizing for. In this case, we're optimizing for purchases. Now, yours might or might not have a website and shop option. If you don't have this option, just go ahead and select website. Essentially, the only difference is if you choose website and shop, essentially, Facebook's going to direct approximately 10% of your traffic to the shop on Facebook. If you've ever seen commerce checkout on Facebook or Instagram, that's where some of that traffic goes. Yours could be 10%, 50%, or you might already have an option where it says shop as an only placement. Now, if you haven't already, we will be covering a video later on about this, but if you would like to test that option, feel free to do so. As more people, get comfortable with spending and purchasing within the Facebook app rather than visiting people's websites, it is going to grow to be a great option. But for now, we'll just go ahead and select website, optimize for purchases, and then we're going to scroll down here. We're not going to do any dynamic creative. We're not going to do any offer. At this audience level, we're just going to keep going down, and no options we're going to change here. We're going to continue scrolling down, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to exclude a custom audience, and the custom audience we want to exclude is going to be purchase 180 day. And the reason is because we don't want to, show our ads to people who've already purchased. We'll cover that in a later video on a retargeting audience, but for now, we want to exclude anybody who's already bought from us before because we want to reach new people. So we'll go ahead and name this a purchase 180 day audience, and we'll go ahead and choose that event purchase. And then essentially, we're going to hit create. And that purchase 180 day is now being excluded here. I also recommend if you have a customer list, you go ahead and upload that customer list of purchases. That way you can ensure that you're fully excluding those individual customers from this audience. The next thing is your location targeting. Depending on where you are in the world and what countries you want to target, go ahead and select those individual countries. I recommend splitting them out, one country per audience for testing. That way you can truly understand which country is performing best. Or you can add in all the countries and then just look at the breakdown. For the age, we're going to leave the age range open here because, there's going to be individuals that are young that want this, and then there's also going to be individuals who are older that might be buying for a younger audience. It might be a family member, it might be a gift, it might be a brother, it might be a sibling, it might be a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it might be a spouse. There's so many reasons that people at all ages could, end up purchasing something for someone. And so you really want to keep your age range quite open. The only reason we would exclude an age is if you're 100% certain, with data, of course, to exclude a set age. For instance, if you're selling, something in the alcohol space and the laws are 21 plus, then you want to make sure that your age range is 21 plus. Now, if you are selling a product where you've never had somebody over the age of 65 ever purchase your product before, and you've looked at the data and you've confirmed that with a fact, then feel free to exclude that age range. If you don't have absolute certainty, then you're going to leave your age range open because that leaves the highest number of opportunities available for the system to learn and optimize for you. We're also going to